Part 1. A teacher tried to steal my standardized test to give it to one of her sports students. This happened a long time ago, long enough that exact dates are fuzzy, but some memories don't fade. They stick because something about them feels unfair or unresolved. That's how this one stayed with me. To explain it properly, I need to start with some background. I've always been really good at multiple-choice tests. Not because I was a top student, I wasn't. I was a solid BC student at best. I rarely did homework, barely paid attention in class, and scraped by on the edge of being trouble. But give me a standardized test, I'd crush it. I read a lot as a kid. Books, magazines, cereal boxes, anything with words. And I loved puzzles. So multiple-choice questions were my jam. I could usually spot the trick answers and guess correctly even when I wasn't totally sure. Teachers thought I was smarter than I was, or at least more prepared. I wasn't. I was just good at tests. There was one teacher, though, who didn't fall for that. Miss Karen Van B. Yach. That's not her real name, of course, but it's close enough. Let's call her Miss Karen. She taught history, and she had a knack for writing tests that couldn't be gamed. Her multiple-choice questions had 2 or 3 seemingly correct answers, and only one that matched whatever she thought was right. She didn't just want knowledge, she wanted obedience. You had to know the material her way. Unsurprisingly, hers was the only class I ever failed. Not by much, a high F, close to passing, but still, it stung. At the time, our school let you replace a failing grade with a state-issued standardized test, so I took the history test. No studying, no prep. Just walked in, filled in bubbles, and walked out with a B+. That became my new grade. I figured that was the end of it. But Miss Karen also happened to be my homeroom teacher, so I still saw her every day, first thing in the morning. She was also the cheerleading coach, which I mentioned because it actually matters later. Her favorites were cheerleaders and athletes. If you weren't one of them, you didn't exist. If you were a smart mouth, as she called me once, you were worse than invisible. You were a problem. And that brings us to the morning where everything shifted. I sprained my ankle on the way to school. Badly. Twisted it on the stairs and hobbled all the way up using the handrails, trying not to cry. I'd sprained my ankle before, so I knew what it felt like. This one was bad. I limped into homeroom and asked Miss Karen for a pass to the nurse. She didn't even look up. "I don't give nurse passes," she said. "Or bathroom passes. Sit down." It wasn't even a real class, just homeroom, just attendance. But she wouldn't budge. I stared at her, stunned, and then, knowing better than to argue, limped to my seat. I sat there, pain growing, ankle throbbing, and rage building. When the bell rang, I had to drag myself up another flight of stairs to my Latin class. That teacher took one look at me and handed me a nurse pass on the spot. The nurse didn't even need me to pull up my pant leg. My ankle was already visibly swollen, grapefruit-sized. She handed me a crutch and called my dad. I couldn't stay at school. We didn't have a car, no cell phone, no money for a cab. I took the city bus home using that one crutch like a lifeline. When I finally got home and told my dad what happened, I thought I was mad. Until I saw his face. He turned red. Quiet red. Dangerous red. He helped me ice and wrap my ankle, then asked if I'd be okay alone for a few hours. I said yes. He nodded, said nothing, and left. When he came back, he said only one thing. "You won't be having trouble with that teacher anymore."